Welcome back, friends, to another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnit video. Lids87 here, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be quickly looking at Seven and Garland to see how worthy they are of your precious tickets and or gems. Now, the purpose of these types of videos are to look at what I believe are the most important aspects of upcoming characters to help influence your decision to see if you guys should be going for those characters or not. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your decision, friends, depending on your team compositions. Now, before I do start talking about them, I would love to give some shout outs, as this is where I gathered my information from the Dissidia database, Dissidia Compendium, Materia Bot, Anton Labs, from Reddit, as those JP translations do carry over to the global side in terms of what characters receive, and to the Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnit Discord, as they help me better understand how one of Seven's buffs work during a burst mode. So those links will be down below in the description if you guys would like to check out those resources for yourself. Alright, friends, so talking about Seven, let's go ahead and start talking about her. Seven is going to be making a comeback, and she is going to be getting an LD weapon. Now, if you're not familiar with Seven, she is a debuffing type attacker who I would say her kit revolves around her Snakebite debuff, but with her LD, things are going to be getting a little bit more interesting. So Snakebite is a 6-turn debuff that Seven inflicts. It's a stackable debuff, max stacks is at 3. She can inflict Snakebite with her Snakebite and Lash, that's her first ability, Sadistic Spikes, which is her EX ability, and her LD ability, Diving Strike. If you use any of these abilities, that will increase the stacks, or you can increase the stacks by using her upgraded Brave and HP attacks. Now, mind you, if you use her LD ability Diving Strike, this will automatically inflict 3 stacks of Snakebite, assuming that you have it maxed out in her LD boards. Now, what this is going to do for Seven is that this is going to increase Seven's weakness, Brave damage, dealt by 50%. Now, whenever Seven attacks an enemy afflicted with Snakebite, she will be hitting that weakness damage, so this allows her to hit harder. On top of that, the enemy's defense will be decreased by up to 50%. And also, what this is going to do for her second ability, Elemental Slash, this will trigger it twice if she's attacking an enemy afflicted with Snakebite with her second ability. The only downside I would say of Snakebite is that you could only have one Snakebite debuff out on the field, we're going to call it. So that means if target A has Snakebite, you want to inflict it on target B, target A is going to lose Snakebite, and then you have to start re-inflicting or restacking Snakebite on target B. So just keep that in mind when you decide to start attacking the enemy with Seven. Her LD weapon, with her LD ability Diving Strike, she's going to gain access to 2 brand new buffs. One of them right off the bat after using Diving Strike is called Thoughtful Heart for 12 turns. That has party-wide auras, so there's going to be plus 20% stolen max rave overflow, plus 40% to party attack, and plus 20% to brave and HP damage up. So she is now she's now a little aura bot that increases your party's damage. She's all grown up now. But her second buff is going to come from her upgraded HP attack. So use Diving Strike. HP attack upgrades to HP attack Bondage Whip. After you use HP attack Bondage Whip, she will gain Bondage Whip buff, and then that upgraded HP attack will revert back to whatever it was at. Now, Bondage Whip is a 5-turn buff that is going to decrease the enemy's speed by 10%, decrease the enemy's attack by 40%. There is another party aura here in the form that it's going to further increase the party's brave damage by 20%. So that on top of Thoughtful Heart, now we're talking about 40% brave damage up for the entire party. Not only that, there is going to be a follow-up that is triggered after anything happens on the field, whether it be your party or the enemies. There is going to be a Bondage Whip follow-up attack. So consider this kind of like a gravity-based attack. Gravity in this game has the capabilities to bypass defense and brave damage reductions, and this is based off of 70% of Seven's attack, followed by an HP attack. This cannot break the enemies or initiate a chase sequence, or a knockback, I should say. The one downside about this, I did spell duration wrong, Duratoin. Gosh damn it. The one downside about Bondage Whip is that every time anything acts, the duration is decreased by 1, allowing it to expire faster. So if you don't plan this properly and the enemy decides to act back to back, or starts laying your party members and they get several turns in a row, this is going to burn through this. Sure, of course, the follow-up will trigger, but if you were planning to take advantage of the 40% brave damage up, there it goes. So ideally what you want to do, you know, set it up so your party members could benefit from this, especially if you're about to go into a burst mode. This is where I needed help understanding. Again, thank you to the Discord community for helping me understand this. Use 7's LD ability during the burst mode. Bondage Whip will not expire, so that burst unit will benefit from 40% brave damage up, allowing them to hit harder and then just take it from there. All right, friends. So just try to plan accordingly. When it comes to the worthiness of 7, I'm going to say somewhat worthy, only because I don't like to usually do this. I like to value each unit on their own, but just because of what we have on the global side of the game in terms of units with auras, we have Balthier, we have Sarah. Not only that, we have other units like Trey, who with both of his debuffs, we're talking about a constant 40% brave damage up as long as those debuffs are on those enemies. Not only that, Trey has the capabilities to just instantly break, or I'm sorry, your party has the capabilities to just automatically break that debuffed enemy with any form of brave attack. All right, friends, so I'm saying somewhat worthy, a little bit lower. I would say players that should chase 7 are players that are Type 0 fans, or if you're a player that really needs some form of brave damage up auras towards your party. 7 is not bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we have other units who I believe could kind of do it better, but of course with the proper team composition, because this is a team composition game, you can make her excel. You can make her excel on your comp. All right, friends. Now, I will say that she does come back twice later down the line. Once is going to be on Tidus's burst banner alongside Arciala's LD weapon. Not the ideal banner to chase around. The next one I would say is the banner to chase 7 on is going to be Lan and Rain's burst banner. So during the Lufenia Plus, Burst Plus era, alongside Orin's LD weapon. And Orin, I would say, is the unit to chase on that banner. But at that point, she'll be outdated. She is going to be outdated. Sure, you can make her work, like I just said, team compositions, but there are other units at that point that I would rather have. All right, friends, so the verdict for 7, I'm going to say somewhat worthy, a little bit less of your precious tickets and or gems, especially if you have other units, just slide this all the way to skip. All right, just saying. Garland, the main unit that is going to be receiving LD boards and his burst weapon. Garland is an attacking type DPS attacker unit that has delays built into his kit already. That's what he does. That's what he's been doing since his debut. But of course now with his LD boards and burst weapon, he just got that much better. Now, the main things about Garland are of course his buffs. His first one being Soul of Chaos for 6 turns, a stackable buff up to 5 that is granted with Round Edge, Soul of Chaos, Bind of Chaos, and the plus versions. This is going to increase Garland's own attack and max spray by 50%. Garland is a selfish DPS, or attacker I should say, so he's increasing his own damage. And at 5 stacks, this will upgrade Round Edge, Soul of Chaos, and Bind of Chaos. Round Edge being his first ability, Soul of Chaos being his second ability, and Bind of Chaos being his LD ability. All that's missing is Chaos Control. Where are my Sonic bands? Soul of Conflict, this is where his utility is coming into the game. Soul of Conflict is granted for 2 turns from his additional ability, Disaster of Chaos, which is his EX ability. And again, his LD ability, Bind of Chaos, is going to further increase Garland's attack by 50%. Further increase his stolen max rate of overflow by 30%. And anytime he lands an attack, the target or targets will be delayed by 1 turn. He can also gain a 1 turn of Soul of Chaos by breaking an enemy or enemies with Round Edge or his Soul of Chaos abilities. Just keep that in mind if you just randomly see it pop up. His LD special effect, again, we have had this before as his LD is being refeatured again. So Chains of Time is his LD special effect for 10 turns. It is a stackable special effect. So once it's at max stacks, taking to max stacks, the enemy's speed will be decreased by 50%, their defense will be decreased by 30%, and you do increase the stacks by attacking with Garland. Now, this is the best part right here, his LD boards. What this is going to do, this is going to improve his LD special effect, Chains of Time. So he's going to improve his own brave damage. At 5 stacks, 50% brave damage up. There is that gorgeous attacker just hitting even harder. Pair him up with all the beautiful, wonderful brave damage up auras that we already have in the game. Okay? 20% HP damage up. An additional 20% stolen max brave overflow. So now if you time or if you have all his buffs up, now we're talking about 70% stolen max brave overflow. and there is going to be a follow-up attack. So think about it kind of like Squall. Okay, so anytime Garland lands an attack, same like Squall, there is a follow-up attack, all right? So it's going to be the, what's it called? The Soul of Chaos. There we go. His second ability, his Soul of Chaos animation, where he like goes up to them, he does this like awesome uppercut. He's like draining their freaking essence, and then he rips out their heart. It's going to be that animation that Garland is going to do for the follow-up, allowing him to hit freaking harder. I can't tell you this. He gets so much better with his boards. And I would probably say one of the best parts, or another beautiful part about his LD boards, is that while Chains of Time is active, any buffs that he grants himself, the duration is increased by 1. This is going to come into play with his Soul of Conflict buff, because remember, it's at 2 turns. He's going to grant it to himself for 3 turns. Remember when I said that he can grant it to himself for 1 turn with Round Edge and Soul of Chaos? He's going to be granting it to himself for 2 turns, just letting him stick to that attacking utility type character. Whew. Okay, so with his burst weapon, he's going to gain access to a party-wide burst effect. This is a stackable burst effect up to 5, and this burst effect lasts for 6 turns. The levels are increased by 1 whenever after an ally's turn, but this does reset if an enemy's acts, so just try to be careful if an enemy is resistant to delays. All right, so what this is going to do for the party, assuming you're at 5 stacks, plus 50% brave damage up. Yes, please. Plus 30% HP damage up towards the party. Plus 40% max brave damage limit. So now we're talking about 13,998. And also plus 40% stolen max brave overflow. So if you guys do not have a burst weapon that increases your party's damage, I would seriously consider chasing after Garland's burst weapon. Now when it comes to the worthiness of Garland on my worthy meter, I'm going to say his LD is definitely pity worthy if you do not have it yet. And his burst weapon, I would say I would consider maybe tickets or throwing gems for it. Now, one downside about Garland is that you guys should keep in mind as we progress into the Lufenia era is that just watch out for enemies that need to act in order to increase their special countdown, the Lufenia orb. But outside of that, if you can meet the conditions, then go freaking ham. And of course, there will be enemies during certain stances or during certain HP thresholds. They will be resistant to delay. So aside from that, Garland is going to work beautifully on your team compositions. And not only that, we should be getting free multi-draws due to the May Fair for the banners where Garland's burst weapon are going to be featured on. So it's possible you could pick up his gear for free. All right, friends, so LD, pity that thing if you have yet to do so. If you already have Squall, put them on the same damn team. They do 2 different things, and put them with another wonderful type of aura bot on the team composition. Or if you don't have Squall, pick them up. I would say if you have Squall and if you are hurting on resources, maybe overlook Garland, but pick him up later down the line. He is a strong character, but again, if you are hurting on resources, hey, by all means, friends, you guys know your own stashes, all right? But this is what I'm saying, his value on my worth meter. Now, he does come back, like I just mentioned, later down the line. He is a burst plus character, so if you want to pick him up now to prep him for the future, hey, by all means. He does receive a rework, and he does receive improvements to his LD effect or LD board adjustments. If you are going to be chasing his burst weapon, which is the best burst banner to chase him on, that, in my opinion, that's going to be the Ferris LD debut banner. If you're not personally a fan of Ferris, then I would say the Ignis is the other banner that I would consider chasing for Ignis's LD weapon. Now, Ignis, long story short, Ignis with his LD call action will have the capabilities to enhance your party with fire. We're talking now elemental weakness damage up on top of inflicting fire resist down on the enemies. I believe it was called Sage Fire, his debuff. Ferris, we're talking about 5 framed debuffs with her LD call action. Now at first you're like, gosh damn, 5 LD debuffs. I mean, trust me, they are pretty good because she has a very potent attack down debuff, a very potent defense down debuff, and then there is going to be a point around Ilnarsh, I believe, when the debuff slots are going to be increased to 8. And Ferris, her call action at least, is very useful to decrease enemies' defense, especially during the Lufenia Plus era, where defense down actually helps your party members deal out more damage. All right, friends, so at the end of the day, friends, when it comes to 7, a little bit less than somewhat worthy. When it comes to Garland, I'm talking payday worthy for his LD, and I would consider picking up his burst weapon, especially if you don't have other units that can give your party these types of damage up benefits. All right, friends, so that is it for this video, friends. I want to thank you guys for watching my coverage of 7, or recap, I should say, of 7 and Garland. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments what you guys are going to be doing for this banner. Me personally, I did not pick up Garland's LD weapon from before, so I will be chasing on the debut banner with gems. And if I pick up the burst weapon along the way, awesome. If I don't, I'll pick up the LD. I'll stop. I'll see what the free multi-draws give me. But I ideally want to chase his burst weapon on the Ferris LD banner. All right, friends. So 7, I could just care less about her. Again, friends, let me know down below in the comments your own personal plans. And until next time, friends, good luck and have a good one.